everyone, and welcome to another episode of the In Conversation series of nasscom as we continue to discuss on the various facets of future of work. Post the conclusion of our Future of Work Meet 2024 on 5th of July. Now, at the event, we heard a lot of conversations on how the overall future of work continues to evolve with the rise of AI, hybrid working, skills, and so much more. In today's discussion, we would discuss in these areas with a combined lens of business and academia. And to take that discussion forward today, we have with us Dr. C.N.Narayana, who is the Group Director, Higher Education and Collaborations, and Director of Business and Management Studies at Krishna Institutions, Coimbatore. Dr. Narayan has a judicious mix of corporate and academic experience spanning over 38 years. He was associated with leading business schools in India as a senior professor and director. He was also associated with several leading Indian companies and MNCs holding leadership positions. He's a Google Scholar with more than 24 research papers and 2 case studies published in Case Center, UK and USA. He has received more than 60 awards nationally and internationally for his contribution to higher management education, teaching, research, leadership, and knowledge management. He is also an author and social worker. He's an inspiring role model, works tirelessly doing what he does the best, awakening students, academia, and corporate leaders to raise the performance bar and build capabilities in people. He's an institutional builder in 2 words. Thanks a lot, Dr. Narayana, for joining us today for this conversation.
Thank you, Neha, for giving an introduction about me. What's changing in the world, and then we are discussing about the topic, which is futuristic. When you talk about the future, is always interesting.
Agreed.
The billboard of change is future. It is not about the past legacies. So what we are going through in terms of technology, in terms of people management, in terms of workforce, everything is changing every single day. So here is an opportunity for me to discuss some of the issues and some of the points which will be discussed maybe for a couple of years to come, and how the landscape is moving towards the future workforce. And the development of future leaders is a critical importance at this juncture.
Completely agree, Dr. Narayana. And, we all know that post-COVID, the way people are working across the globe, it continues to evolve. There were times when everybody was forced to work remotely. Then there was this focus on hybrid work model. And now, there's again a shift coming back to office. Now, also with the advent of AI, and other new technologies, we see there's a demand of new age skills, which is growing continuously. And this is also resulting in talent shortage as we continue to discuss, not only in the tech sector, but across the board. Also, we, talk about skilling. There's a lot of discussion on academic institutions to rework the way they are training people, they are doing their curriculum. So there's a lot of discussion on that front as well. So I know with that context, as you just gave a brief to us, I would like to start with our discussion. And my first question today is, how do you envisage the future workforce shaping up globally?
Yeah, there are 2 critical words you used, is a workforce and global. So it's all about a shrinking world in terms of logistics, in terms of communication. If these things have to happen the way we want, then technology will be the main driver. So I expect the future workforce to be agile, to be mobile. And we also will see a huge acceptance of remote operations all over the world. You talked about people getting back to work to physical places, but you will also see the kind of acceptance in remote working. That will be the mantra in future, because the workforce will expect that kind of flexibility. The expansion of gig economy all over the world is a crux. And whether you like it or not, gig economy is expanding and will continue to expand in the years to come. The workforce from the millennials, we have now moved to another set of people who are more than that in terms of looking at the flexibility. So they need a lot of autonomy, the way we operate, and the management looks at their style. And it is not about only the leadership at the top. So it has to be a culture which is to be imbibed to embrace technology, to look at decision making. So the current workforce, if you look at it, they expect a lot of decision making to be actually delegated to them. And, we have to be ready with this kind of change. There's a great saying, you can't change the direction of the wind, but we can adjust our sails to reach the destination. That is how the future is going to be in the workplace. And the leadership has to learn these tricks of managing things better. So I see a huge lot of, changes coming, both in terms of management looking at employees and employees looking at companies, how they have to behave, what kind of culture they will look at to survive and to stay on. Because retention is the main thing, because getting the next topic probably we'll be discussing on professional talent. So definitely we need to retain people, ensure that attrition rates are less. And these are the HRM practices we should be looking at in future.
Sure, sure. Completely agree. And, as you rightly said, you're moving away from a just millennial population to more of Gen Z coming into the workforce. And I think that is actually forcing the management to look at new ways of how they are giving benefits to people, how they have to deal with things. Completely agree. Now, moving on that with discussion, how do you see, expansion of the talent pool in the near future? We see more, Gen Zs coming in, but, what is your take on that beyond that?
The road to success, I see, is HRM looking at talent pool very positively. Without looking at only their expectations, we should also set right our expectations to employees' expectations. So you will see a shortage of skilled professionals all over the world, not only in India. And you will also see heightened competition for top talents, because everybody will be running to get the talent in their organization. So we are talking about either retaining talent, which is good, by a perpetual upskilling, cross-skilling, because both will be required when the changes are happening through AI and through the new ways of doing things. Very important thing, many HR managers may not look at in every company is about unlearning. A lot of unlearning should happen, because we have to look at new things coming in, new ways of doing, as you rightly put it. And another critical factor in the future workforce will definitely be the well-being of employees. Employee well-being will be discussed at length in every organization, will be pondered in depth, and then all those policies will be employee friendly, and it should look at well-being. We talked about work-life balance, which is not existing anymore, but the employee well-being as an overall well-being, psychological, mental, and also the physical, congenial atmosphere, all these things will come into force. At the same time, there's a theory called Kurt Lewin's theory of change management, that where we stand now and where do we move? So we have to freeze, unfreeze, and then freeze. So this is a continuous process which you will see happening. And of late, I've also observed the Maslow's theory of hierarchy is not really happening the way it is derived or it is defined. So it is going to change. And one of the factors which are going to change is definitely well-being. And another thing, we expect a supportive environment. That's how the workforce will look at it in future. And that's a crux of everything if you want to retain good, professionals in your organization. So this is how I look at a talent pool in the near future. And it may undergo certain changes even as we go through the journey. But those changes will be minimal if you're actually looking at AI, and also we are ready for the changes, as ever. That's it.
Sure. No, I think very valid take where you say, we all keep talk about learning, but you really need to focus on the unlearning bit as well. because it's a continuous journey as things are evolving to unlearn, learn, and then relearn. So I think that's a very important take there, and definitely, a lot of focus post the pandemic on well-being, and that has kind of taken the front stage. And I think it's really important across the employees, irrespective of the levels they are working or irrespective of whatever millennial or Gen Z they come from. But I think well-being has taken the front stage. So agree there. Going forward, on our discussion, I would now, we saw that with a lot of talk on technologies. So what is your view on the role of technology specific to workforce and skill and capability building?
Technology and the changes in technology is happening every second. As we talk now, the changes are happening. That may be background, but things are happening so fast that it's difficult to catch up with the technological changes. And, when you look at a workforce, the specific workforce, when you're looking at, we talk about skilling and capability building. There are two things we should look at in terms of changes happening. How do we build critical skills, and how do we actually connect to emerging technologies? Emerging technologies will rule the world for the next 2 decades. And AI is just one of the key technologies. AI is not everything. Apart from that, we already have bots, we have ChatGPT, and so on. But there's a plethora of information available. So analytics is one which is taking a great shape. But at the same time, if I'm a decision maker, if I am on the top of the management position, I will be forced to take quick decision based on the analytics. So I don't have time to think and go through so many things. So technology has to filter out what is required for the decision-making process. And AI will not only create new jobs. I see a lot of things are happening. People are sometimes negative, saying that AI is going to take away the jobs, but I feel the other way around. So for that, we have to look at reskill, upskilling, and they are the mantras of change. The synergy between the employees and the employees to embrace the technology to be future ready. That is it. So the billboard is all about whether we are future ready, using these technologies at the same time addressing the needs of employees. That's how it's going to be.
Yeah, sure. So I think completely agree, Dr. Narayana. And during the summit also, we heard a lot of, people talking about that it is not only that AI will take away job, but more jobs would be created. And it's more about people, they should embrace AI. And it is the human AI interaction that will actually lead to success for people. So I think that is the important thing. Now, moving ahead in our discussion, I would now like to understand, how do we synergize between employees and employers with a holistic approach to adapt quickly to change? You said, that synergy is very important. But what do you think should be done right from both the ends so that, those synergies could come to work?
As I told you, synergy is how we connect people with the understanding of what an institution or a company expects from an employee. And the employee should also understand what the company is looking at from them. So both of them have to change. That's a basic understanding of synergy. Having said that, synergy cannot be attained just overnight. Synergy has to be a culture which is to be built in. And these leaders talk about looking at new technologies, new changes. They have to have their orientation, they have to have their trainings, and also they have to mentor those people who are lacking in those areas, because people are negative about technology, the changes, then the changes cannot happen. So synergy is between both of them. That means both of them have to, clap their hands together to make it happen. And you will see a lot of things are already happening in the real-time world, and you'll also see the companies changing pretty fast, and the employees also changing their mindset towards those changes. So this is how the synergy will be built. Synergy can also be built with the help of the partners, collaborators, and with the help of the institutions which are looking at synergizing things. So it's all about a collaborative world which is going to connect, communicate, and ensure that technology is properly used.
No, I completely agree. And I think synergy now should be part of the organizational culture. It has to be built over time. And that is something will create a lot of benefit to the whole organization in the future. So, just coming to the academic institution sides of the thing, what do you think is the role of academic institutions today to support the changes that are happening to ensure that the capability and productivity enhancement is being done? So I think they have an important role to play. So I would just like to understand, how the role is important and what can be done.
Yeah, before I move into academic, let me also talk about something which is happening really. You talked about synergies. So one of the points probably I missed out is a holistic approach. So we have to adapt quickly to changes. How do we do that? Developing future leaders is a top strategic priority for organizations to remain successful and relevant. So this era is a time of disruptive technology and innovation. We need razor sharp, timely decisions with a winning mindset. It's not about just only the sharp decisions, timely decisions, with the winning mindset. So that is a huge change which is coming up from the HR front. So AI, technology, diversity to win a war, the next way of change. So wave of change is happening very frequently. So we have to be ready for the next wave of change and the way of working. So gig is changing the world, and the workforce is changing the world. The remote workforce is changing much more, and tech is changing, technology is changing the whole world pretty quickly. So it's very, very important for us to have a winning mindset while we change a lot of things, synergize many things. So I'll come to the academic part of it. Very interesting thing. Normally, there is a rift between academia and industry for the simple reasons that they don't understand each other. Every time in any convention, conferences, they talk about how to work very closely. But we've been working very closely, and academic institutions in the last 3-4 years post-COVID have changed quite a lot. And then they are looking at technology seriously. They are looking at industry very, very seriously. And they should support changes happening to ensure capability building is happening across the world. It's not about only changing the way we deliver in the classroom. It's about, do we make our students ready for industry? At the same time, industry people also must understand. Industry should focus on what are the changes they can bring to collaborate with good academic institutions like Sri Krishna Group of Institutions. We have a huge setup. So they should come forward openly. What are the areas we can work together? Going back to your synergizing point. So there are a lot of opportunities. Educational institutions are enhancing their curriculum to include more of AI and related topics. And they're serious at this point of time. And they're using various platforms. Like in SKI, we use various platforms. We've also collaborated with a lot of organizations, tech-driven organizations. I don't want to name it, but we are all working on it. And academics will collaborate more with industry in the years to come. And there will be a lot of changes in terms of higher education. Government of India has recently come out with an extended internship. That means we are looking at skilling, not the theory part of it. Extended internship, we call it interns. So that is going to be from 2 months to 4 months, even 24 to 26 credits we are looking at. That means we are talking about really skilling India. So these are the changes you will see in the days to come. And this is how I envisage the landscape of future workforce and the development of future leaders, both in academia and in the industry.
Sure, that's very helpful. So I think before I call it a close, I think some good pointers that I could probably summarize today is, the importance of unlearning and then maybe relearning that we want to see going forward as, things continue to evolve and you can just not sit with what you know and, go ahead with that. No, I think the growing importance of well-being is something that you have to keep in mind while you devise anything for your employees today. That's like of paramount importance to every
Absolutely.
employee today.
Yeah.
Thirdly, I think very validly you said, it's all also about supportive environment overall at an overall level, which is very crucial today. And the way things are working, flexibility is, I think, has to stay. And that's what I think employees across the board really want and would prefer going forward as well. The rise of gig is something definitely we also saw it in the summit as one trend. We'll have to see how it, comes to India, because I think that's a common concept in the West, but it is a growing concept in India, and I'm sure that's about to rise with the limited skilled workforce that we have for certain technologies. This is bound to grow in the coming years. And definitely, I think on synergies, I think very valid point, Dr. Narayana, that it's not only about employer-employee synergy. That's important. That winning mindset is important. But as you rightly said, that synergy between the academia and the industry is very crucial in the coming times, for getting a more ready workforce that can come and join the industry and be on the job maybe in their starting days. And the industry does not have to put in too much effort to make them relevant to the job today. So I think that is very, very crucial. So I think those were the points that I wanted to summarize, and I really want to thank you for all your time today. And with this,
thank you so much. I want to end the conversation. It's a beautiful conversation.
Okay.
What I look at as a leader is looking beyond future and
nice.
looking around, looking within. Looking within is nothing but self-architect momentum from unconsciousness to conscious competency. That is the crux. So it's not about the people around. Even you need to change every single day. So if you talk about the road to success, these are the mantras you have to follow. And every futuristic organization will be definitely doing all this thing, I'm sure. And you'll see more changes coming our way. Thank you so much for inviting me to nasscom to discuss about the futuristic and the future workforce. Okay, thank you so much.
Most welcome, Dr. Narayana, and it was pleasure talking to you. And thanks very much for the insightful discussion today. And it was, I'm sure the audience today will have a lot of insights to take back home, from the discussion on how things will change. And obviously, future of work continues to evolve, and obviously we'll keep seeing more changes. It is us who needs to adapt. That's probably the key takeaway.
Sustainable developmental goals. That is going to be the future.
Sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Narayana. And I think we'll call it a close. And maybe I'll request the audience to keep listening to all the conversations that we do as we move forward on the charter and much more at nasscom. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.